Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and per my post I made earlier, I'm going to say my slogan. Natural lifters lifting natural weights naturally. This has a nice ring to it, doesn't it? You know, whole thing is I've seen on the tubes here, this whole natural community, the natural movement. And as I've thought about it, I've realized this is the way. And if you can't beat them, then join them. So I am going to come out as natural lifter, natural power lifter, natural bodybuilder. You know, I've even been opposed to bodybuilding. But you know, here's what I've come to realize. It's just a label, right? I'm working on leaning out, working on body composition, looking better. Why can't I be a natural bodybuilder? I'm going to make the symbol. My symbol's going to be a jar of natural peanut butter. I'm going to start eating natural peanut butter in my live streams to show my support for the community. Show my support for the community. And the thing is, here's the thing I've always said. My channel has always been a resource for everyone. And what some people haven't grasped, some of my more impressive clients are completely lifetime drug-free. Okay. Guys like Justin, guys like Mike, who I put up Mike, everyone's like, Mike's a beast. Guys see Justin, like, Justin's a beast. But you have to understand how many years they've been training. I mean, the perfect example, Justin was already jacked and strong. I've been coaching him for 4 years. He's had my level of coaching for 4 years, on top of close to a decade of training already and hard work. So yeah, I mean, the guy's squatting over 500 pounds, ripped, in his 30s, right? Deadlifting close to 600, ripped in his 30s. So if I've been able to produce those sort of results and some guys who have deadlifted 700 completely natural, I do want to make it clear that my channel is a resource for natural lifters. You know, anything else that we say aside, and I think, again, that needs to be clear because people always want to argue the Natty versus enhanced. They always want to argue this, and they'll say, well, certain methods only work for guys who are enhanced. And I think there's a degree of truth to that. There's a degree of truth to that. It really is. But if something works for natties, it'll work for everyone. In other words, if you can find protocols and methods and ways of training that make people on nothing legit lifetime natties, if you can make them jacked and strong, it's a good way of training. Those are good methods for everybody, because realistically, if those methods work for people who are on nothing, they obviously are going to work for people who are using stuff. I mean, common sense should dictate this. It doesn't always work the other direction. Okay, it doesn't always work the other direction. So that's a point that needs to be made clear here. The point that needs to be made clear here. But furthermore, I think another thing to keep in mind, you know, with all of this topic, I'm almost 47 years old. I absolutely do care about my health. You know, I do care about my health. And it does need to be clear that whatever people do think is going on, I am not going to be blasting a bunch of gear ever again. You know, let's be realistic. I can't afford to do that. I really can't. So being less tongue-in-cheek with the topic, I am fully aware that things in the past can impact us long-term, both positive and negative. So when someone says, well, if I'm not going to be on stuff, I'm not going to be blasting anything, it is kind of tongue-in-cheek to still call it natural, right? Because we know that there's permanent changes. But that being said, does it mean that you can't make progress and gains? I don't think that that's the case. I've seen examples of guys pull it off. So here's the thing. If your training and nutrition are really, really dialed in, is it possible for people to continue to make progress? If they choose to say, look, this is what I did, but now I don't want to do that. And I think this is a mature conversation that we need to have as a community. Because if your training can get better, nutrition can get better, I don't think it is the case of, oh, well, that's it. You're never going to make any progress again. I don't think it has to be that way. I think oftentimes, unfortunately, it is that way. But I think when we're seeing that, we've seen that a lot with, again, some of these pro bodybuilders, but they didn't really know how to train, and they used just ridiculous amounts of stuff. I think that's a different scenario. And then a lot of them just completely let themselves go. And I think that's more the situation. They just stop. They turn into non-lifters. So here's kind of what I'm doing with my own training. I'm doing everything to focus on lengthened position stuff, focusing on getting the training as effective as possible right now. I'm protein overfeeding to help with body composition because I'm trying to lean out and other stuff. So I'm going to keep working on making progress, getting better. Okay. I don't think that requires me to be blasting gear. So I'm going to continue with this trend of what I'm doing with my training. And I do want to make it clear, very, very clear, that this channel is a legitimate, good resource for people who want to get really jacked and really strong, irrespective of which route they go. And it is a resource for natural lifters. Because again, I have natural lifters who look like bodybuilders. I have them. You guys have seen them. I've showcased them. So again, I want to double down on that, make that clear. And again, it's going to be my line. It's going to be natural lifters lifting natural weights naturally. That's a whole lot of natural. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys next time.